Hello, friends from across the nation and around the world. I'm Martin, and you are listening to Dad's Bedtime Stories. And well, I do promise we will continue with, some of our longer-term series. Right now, I'm still in that costumey mood. So tonight, we're going to do another episode from The Magic Costume Tree. And I think we have the perfect suggestion.
Hi, Dad. Bedtime story. Can I have a suggestion for the costume tree series where someone finds out about the costume tree and tries to get one for themselves but can't, so they catch your one on fire instead, and you have to save it or you won't be able to know when you need to help someone and you won't be able to help them. Bye, love your podcast. From Eleanor from Australia.
Eleanor, that is a fantastic idea. Now, when I went to write this and come up with the idea, I decided it would actually be two parts. The first part will be the story of the person who wanted costumes for himself but couldn't get them. And the second part will go back to you as the main character, solving the problem and helping things out. I will admit that I was having trouble coming up with the backstory for this character, so I actually outsourced the first part to artificial intelligence, telling it to write me the backstory for this guy who wants to burn down the magic costume tree. Then the visualization part will be back to, my imagination. So I hope you enjoy the combination of those things. If you like the episode, rate it, review it, share it with a friend. All of those things go a really, really long way to helping other people find out about the podcast. And, well, the podcast will always be free to listen to. If you want to support us financially, that still helps out a lot. You can do that by signing up on Patreon, either through a one-time donation in the store or a recurring sort of monthly thing. That would get you access to bonus episodes, early access to episodes, and it will always be ad-free. You can even get your own podcast RSS feed that's completely ad-free over there as well. I want to give a big shout out to some of my latest Patreon sponsors, Knox, Paxton, and Natalie. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Now, it's that time again. Time to get as comfy as you can in that bed, close your eyes, and imagine yourself doing what the kid in the story does. Now, to start things off, I need to tell you the story of Mr. Grayman. Mr. Grayman didn't hate costumes because they were silly. He hated them because he didn't understand them. When he was a boy, his parents said things like, "Pretending is for children," and "imagination won't pay the bills." By the time he was 5, he'd stopped pretending altogether. He never dressed up as a pirate, never swung a toy sword, never wrapped a towel around his neck to be a superhero. So, when other kids paraded down the street every Halloween night, ghosts, astronauts, witches, wolves, Mr. Grayman would just sit by the window, his face lit by the flicker of the TV, and mutter, "Ridiculous. They'll have to grow up someday." The years went by, his window became dusty, and so did he. Life turned into a steady rhythm of wake up, work, watch, and sleep. The laughter of children became the ticking of clocks, and the magic of imagination faded from his street. Or at least it seemed to, until the kid across the street moved in. The kid was unusual. One day, Mr. Grayman saw the kid running through the yard wearing a pirate hat, swinging a stick like a sword. The next day, they were dressed up as a dragon. The day after that, a wizard. Sometimes the costumes looked store-bought, but other times they were sort of strange and glowing, full of color that shimmered like sunlight and full of power that seemed very, very real. Mr. Grayman frowned each time he saw the kid in one of those costumes. He didn't like how they smiled when they played, or how they talked to thin air as if someone or something were talking back. And he especially didn't like that the kid seemed to have real powers. He'd heard the rumors. People whispering about a magical tree that could turn you into whatever you dreamed of being. To Mr. Grayman, that sounded like nonsense. But nonsense that, if it was true, he wanted a piece of. One night, Mr. Grayman watched again from his window. The kid across the street ran into the woods wearing plain clothes. Woods that, didn't look like they'd been there before. The kid didn't come back, not for an hour, not for two, and when they did return, they soared down from the sky wearing a superhero costume, cape flapping, boots gleaming, glowing faintly in the moonlight. Mr. Grayman's coffee mug slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. "That's it," he said. "That kid shouldn't have that power. A real adult should have that power." That night, while the world slept, Mr. Grayman stayed up searching online. He found something called a garden flame sprayer, meant for clearing brush and weeds. But to him, it looked like justice. He hit buy now. A week later, a brown box arrived on his porch. Inside, gleaming metal. A tank, a nozzle, a promise. He practiced in his backyard, feeling the warmth of the fire curl up in front of him. It was powerful, dangerous, and oddly exhilarating. If imagination was spreading like a sickness, then he would be the cure. If he couldn't have costumes like the kid had, real costumes that gave him real powers, then nobody would. The following night, Mr. Grayman waited behind his curtains. Sure enough, the kid stepped out again, backpack slung over one shoulder, and made their way towards the back of the house, towards woods that shouldn't have been there. Mr. Grayman, with his metal tank-like flamethrower clutched in his hand, followed. The deeper he went, the more the air shimmered. Strange whispers filled the trees, and faint golden light pulsed ahead like a heartbeat. He crouched low and peered through the bushes until there it was, the magic costume tree. An incredibly old and incredibly large tree with a door on it. He watched as the kid stepped up to the door, turned the handle, and opened it up. For a moment, Mr. Grayman just stared. It was kind of beautiful. Then he remembered what it represented. Imagination, silliness, all the things he'd buried long ago. He clenched his jaw. "No more of this nonsense," he muttered. The door opened up. The kid stepped out in what looked like a superhero costume, and then took off into the air. That wasn't fair at all. Why does the kid get a real costume with real superpowers? Mr. Grayman's parents had always told him that it was all just silly imagination. He walked up to the costume tree. He grabbed a hold of the doorknob and he tried to turn it. But the door wouldn't open. He tried to pull the door open with force, but it didn't budge a bit. He kicked the door, elbowed the door, but nothing happened. That was it. Rage rose inside his head. Why should the kid have such power when Mr. Grayman couldn't? He grabbed a hold of the trigger on his flamethrower, lit the flame, and blasted it with as much fire as he possibly could. It took a little bit of time, but the tree eventually caught, and Mr. Grayman sat in the bushes to watch. He couldn't wait until the kid got home, until the kid saw what happened. Soon, he would be just as cynical and upset as Mr. Grayman. Part 2. Your Perspective. You soar through the clouds, cape snapping behind you, laughter echoing. The superhero costume feels perfect, weightless, powerful, and after just finishing saving an entire city from a volcano monster, you actually feel pretty good. You tilt your head toward the forest. It's glowing faintly, the way it does when the magic costume tree is awakened. But this time something looks wrong. The glow isn't gold, it's orange. You squint, zooming in with your super eyesight, and your stomach drops. Smoke, fire. No, the magic costume tree. You dive down, slicing through the air like a comet. The wind rushes past your ears, and the closer you get, the more you can smell it. The smell of burning wood, crackling leaves, and something else. You land hard beside the costume tree, your boots sinking into the earth. The entire thing is on fire. Flames climb up the trunk of the tree, roaring through the branches. Oh no! You have to do something, and you have to do it fast. You burst through the familiar door of the tree. Smoke is rising everywhere, but still, one of the costumes is lit up with that special, ethereal glow. You quickly grab the costume off of the shelf. A firefighter outfit. That is pretty much exactly what you need. You unzip the superhero uniform, drop it onto the floor, and jump into the firefighter outfit as quickly as you can. It seems to come equipped with a hose that just goes into the pocket. After placing the hat on your head, you rush outside. You point the hose at the tree, and you pull back on the lever. Somehow, a powerful stream of water shoots out and begins drowning the flames. You hear hissing noises as the powerful stream starts to cool the tree and put out the fire. You push forward, spraying higher, sweeping across every branch, every ember. The hiss continues. Minutes pass, maybe even longer. Your arms ache, your suit is soaked, and your hair sticks to your forehead under the helmet. But finally, the flames are out. The forest goes quiet, except for the dripping water and the crackle of cooling embers. You kneel down, staring at the tree. The bark is blackened and cracked. The glow that once filled its branches is gone. The air feels hollow, like the magic itself has gone into hiding. You drop the hose and whisper, I'm so sorry, you say. You step back inside the tree. Everything is drenched. Puddles form under the racks. The costumes are soaked and sagging. Their bright colors are dulled by smoke and ash, and the air smells like burnt fabric and rain. I did what I could, you whisper, and then something moves. From the highest rack, something slips loose and drifts down through the air like a leaf. It flutters and lands at your feet. A long, tattered robe. It looks sort of like a green wizard's robe. You quickly take off the firefighting costume and strap the wizard's robe around your body. The moment the fabric touches your skin tingles. The world seems to shift. The dripping water slows, the air hums, and suddenly you can feel everything. The damp soil under your feet, the roots stretching deep into the ground, the tiny shoots of green life still hiding under the ash. The tree isn't dead. It's just waiting for help. With the costume on, you step back outside. You glance down at your hands and you notice that they're glowing. Emerald-colored light swirling across your fingers. You kneel down instinctively and touch the soil. It's soft and black from the fire, but beneath the surface, you still feel life beating, roots pulsing with magic, seeds whispering to grow. I think I can help you, you say to the tree. You press your palm against the trunk. A soft hum begins in your chest, quiet at first and then stronger. It spreads through your arms, through your fingertips, and into the wood. A sound that isn't coming from your mouth. It's coming from the robe, or maybe the world itself. The hum becomes words, not in any language you've ever spoken, but your heart somehow understands. The robe allows your heart to understand. Grow, you say. Heal. At first, nothing happens. Then, a glow starts to spread through the trunk of the tree. It spreads. Slowly, vines begin to twist up the trunk like bandages. They weave into the cracks, glowing brighter and brighter, until the entire tree shimmers like emerald glass. You close your eyes and let the magic guide you. Every breath you take seems to pull power up from the ground. You can feel the roots spreading beneath your feet, deep and wide, stretching for miles through the forest. You realize that they're all connected, not just to the magic costume tree, but to every tree, every leaf, every blade of grass. You whisper, "Come on, everyone, help me out here." And the forest answers. The wind picks up. The grass sways in rhythm. Leaves shake loose from nearby trees. And begin to spin around the magic costume tree, glowing faintly as they do. They continue to spin and form a spiral of green light around the burned trunk. The energy surges, and the magic costume tree glows from within. Its blackened bark starts to fade to warm gold. New branches shoot outward, leaves unfurling like fireworks. The entire forest starts to hum, and the magic gets stronger and stronger as the magic costume tree starts to grow even more, up higher into the sky, wider along the ground, until, standing in front of you, is a completely healed and even better and bigger than before magic costume tree. You enter inside the tree once again and see all of the costumes still scattered all over the place. An instinct passes through your mind, and you wave your hands once again. The wind blows and starts to swirl around you, picking up the costumes, dusting off the costumes, and drying the costumes. All of the clothing starts to flow through the air in a spiral. The hangers connect with the costumes, and slowly they begin to hang themselves up once again. The costume tree looks just as it did before, if not a little bit bigger. Well, that's better, you say. You attempt to take the robe off, but it doesn't budge. You tug the sleeve, but somehow it's sort of magnetically connected to your body. What's going on? You ask, and in answer to that question, the door opens up. Clearly, whatever you're here to do hasn't yet been done. You step outside and you listen to the wind. You listen to the trees, and you hear something. You look over to the left, beside a little group of bushes, and that's where you see him, Mr. Grayman, the guy from across the street, the grumpy neighbor who never seems to like anything or anyone. But the wind continues to whisper to you. The trees continue to speak, and for a second, you not only see Mr. Grayman, but you feel what's inside his heart. An ache of jealousy. A hollow place where wonder should be. The man isn't angry. He's broken. But before you can act, he spots you, and he begins to run. You step forward, raise your hands, and the air picks you up. It lifts you into the sky, and you zoom after Mr. Grayman. As you fly, you command the roots. You command them to come to life. They twist up out of the soil, curling through the dirt, and wrapping themselves around Mr. Grayman's legs. He stops in place as the roots surround his entire body. You float down out of the sky and land beside the man. He looks up at you, eyes wide in fear. What are you?" he gasps. "I'm just someone who cares," you say. The man scowls. "You don't get it. All this pretending, all this magic, it's dangerous. It makes kids lose touch with what's real. Someone had to stop it." Is that what you think you're doing? Stopping danger? You ask. He hesitates.
When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to play. My parents said imagination was a waste of time, said it made people weak.
But somehow, as he spoke, you could hear and feel the truth. You were told to stop pretending, and you listened. But now you don't have to, you say. He looks up, anger and sadness all tangled together in his eyes.
It's too late for me.
No, you whisper. It's never too late. You place your hand gently against his shoulder. The green light pulses from your palm, spreading through him like sunlight through leaves. He gasps and his eyes start to shudder. And then it happens. Images swirl in the air between you, memories pulled from his mind. A small boy building a cardboard spaceship before his father tore it apart. A sketchbook filled with superheroes that was thrown away. A child who once wanted to be an explorer, a dreamer, a magician. The memories shimmer and then fade into the night. When he opens his eyes again, something is different. The hardness is gone. He looks around the forest and then at you.
I forgot what it felt like,
he whispers.
To imagine something good.
Well then, you say, imagine something now. You allow the roots to fall away. They unwrap themselves and pull back into the ground.
Thank you, he says. I think maybe it is time to imagine.
And with that, Mr. Grayman walks out of the forest. Not back to his house, but straight for the costume shop in town. After all, he has a lot of time to make up for. And you float back up into the air, the wind carrying you high above the forest and back to the magic costume tree. You enter inside, and this time, the robe slips off easily. It floats into the air and hangs itself back up, shooting up to the highest rack of the magic costume tree and hooking itself on. You leave the tree, walk through the little forest path until you find yourself in front of your home once again. When you look back, the path is gone, and so is the tree. You enter inside your home, climb inside your bed, and pull the covers up to your chin. You close your eyes, and with every breath, you begin to sink down a little bit deeper. You release the tension in your arms. You release the tension in your legs. You release the tension in your neck, your head, and most importantly, your face. And with each breath, you sink down a little bit deeper, and your mind begins to wander off to thoughts of new dreams, new costumes, and new adventures to come. Good night, everyone.